Our foreign policy is informed by the premise that multilateralism and respect for international law are key to achieving global political and economic stability. We therefore continue to uphold the enduring principles of the United Nations Charter and international law, and we call for the end of the isolation of Cuba and for the lifting of the embargo and other restrictions directed at that country. In many of our international interactions, we have drawn attention to the difficulties that Zimbabwe is experiencing as a result of the sanctions imposed by various countries on Zimbabwe. We reiterate our call on the international community to lift sanctions against Zimbabwe as called for by SADC and the African Union. And South Africa continues to play an important role in the international arena. We have used our membership of BRICS, the G20 and the non-aligned movement to advance the interests of the African continent and the global South. We remain active in SADC and organs of the African Union. We continue to contribute to peace efforts in Mozambique and the DRC as well. Recently, our country played an important role in facilitating peace in the war in Ethiopia. Our former Deputy President Phumzile Mlambo Ngcuka played a key role alongside other former presidents of some various countries on the continent. And we applaud her for that role. Recent events, such as the Russia-Ukraine conflict, have in many ways exposed the inability of the UN Security Council to fulfill its mandate of maintaining international peace and security. The current configuration of the United Nations Security Council is simply outdated, and it's also unrepresentative, and it disadvantages developing economy countries. Currently, there's a summit that is taking place in the United States between various African countries and the United States. It was pleasing to hear an articulation in that summit supporting the call that we have always made, that Africa needs to be represented on the United Nations Security Council. The message is beginning to sink. In line with our conference resolutions, South Africa continues to advocate for the reforms that will address this issue. The 54th conference gave us a clear mandate to unite and to renew the African National Congress. In the last 5 years, we did much to pursue a strategy of unity, rejuvenation, and renewal. We reaffirm our conviction that the strength, unity, and coherence of the ANC is necessary for the advancement of the interests of the people of South Africa and for building a national democratic society. We therefore do not pursue this process of renewal of the ANC for its own sake. We pursue it because of its importance to the fulfillment of the ANC's historical mission. Throughout its long history, the ANC has pursued the achievement of unity with its own ranks and across society. We have been clear that unity must be based on principle and the observance of the revolutionary values of our movement. Our experience of recent years is that disunity does not arise from ideological, political, or strategic differences amongst us, but it arises from a contest over positions in the state and resources that are attached to them. That is what causes disunity amongst us. We need to acknowledge that despite our efforts over the last 5 years, we are not as united, we are not as cohesive or effective as we should be. Now, our disunity continues at the expense of the support that we should get from the people of South Africa. Because when our people see us disunited, they walk away from us. They only gravitate towards the ANC when they see that its leadership is united, its membership is united and cohesive, its leadership is not at each other's throats, its leadership does not continue to attack each other on public platforms. Now, some of the divisions that existed before the 54th National Conference continue within the organization. They also continue within the leadership core of the ANC. Members of the ANC often tell me that, President, we as members are united. It is you, the leaders of the ANC, who are divided. But they also tell me that, President, it is you, the leadership, who cause divisions amongst us as members of the ANC. Now, as we anticipated, the actions we were mandated to take against corruption and state capture have at times caused friction amongst us. So the process of renewal of the ANC, comrades, was given a really good boost when the proposal of the ANC Veterans League was accepted by the NEC to set up a renewal commission, which will present its report during this conference. The ANC has never fought the struggle for liberation alone. It has at all material times sought to draw together those formations that align with its objectives and are committed to the pursuit of the NDR. We have long been grappling with the form of the alliance that it should take in the democratic era. Now, after the experience of nearly 3 decades of democracy, we have agreed on the need for the alliance to be reconfigured to ensure that it remains relevant and effective in pursuing the national democratic revolution under present conditions as well as into the future. This 55th conference must provide guidance on the reconfiguration of the alliance so that we may conclude this discussion. The renewal of the ANC itself will be incomplete without the renewal of our entire movement, including how we deal with the issue of the reconfiguration of the alliance, the core of the movement. Now, in doing so, comrades, we also maybe at this conference need to have the difficult conversation of how some of the discussions are happening in some of our alliance partners. In the SACP, for instance, there is a debate going on whether the SACP should on its own run for elections under its own ticket and compete with the African National Congress. So we must engage in that discussion. But I want us to engage in that type of discussion calmly and in a way that is driven by the politics of our movement and of the NDR.